Hey guys, it's Bree. Today we're going to take a full body stretch. And thanks again for watching and donating. I appreciate it. So come to sitting as we do. I'm going to take the diamond shape for today. We're just going to start actually by taking the hands to the top of the knees and just roll the spine back into space. I'm kind of pulling my own shin bones a little bit and trying to really press my belly button back to get some stretch in the upper body here. I'm going to start to push my ribs over to the left so that my head kind of rolls around towards my right shoulder. And then I'm going to play with that back and forth just a couple times. So now I'm pushing the ribs to the right. I'm looking towards the left. And then I'm going to find center. I'm going to drop the head forward, start to bend the elbows like gravity. Just take the weight of the upper body down. And then pull the belly button back, push down into your arms and the back of the body to rebuild the spine. One more set just like that. So I'm just going to roll the spine back, feeling the belly pull in and down. From here you can play with these kind of shifts. So I'm going to let my ribs shift over to the left. I'm going to lift my head over to the right. I'm going a little bit further this time, getting kind of stretch in the left side of the neck there. Then I'm going to round the spine back through center and try the other side. So head looks over to the left as my ribs shift to the right. And I'm going to find center. I'm going to drop the head forward, pressing or pulling my knees. And then I'm going to start to push down into my legs, feeling the back of the body turn on to rebuild the spine. From here, I'm going to take my left forearm down to the mat beside me, or the ground beside me. I'm going to keep my right hip anchored into the mat, and I'm going to reach my right arm up and over. So I'm really trying to keep this right arm straight. I'm not letting it bend and collapse, and I'm pushing my right ribs up towards the ceiling. I'm using my left forearm to help me do that, so I'm kind of pushing the ground away from me, keeping that right hip down. From here, I'm going to reach kind of outward and forward. As I pull the belly button back, the fingertips reach away to get a bit of rotation towards my left thigh. And then I'm going to lift the rib cage back up, my right ribs up towards the ceiling. I might even try now bending my right elbow to rotate the chest up. For additional stretch, you can then straighten that right arm back out again to open the chest. Bend the elbow. Rotate the spine through that neutral position. And then we begin again. So I'm rounding the spine forward, up and over the left thigh. I'm reaching my right arm out and away from me. Right hip stays anchored. And then I push the ground away with my left arm to lift my right side of the ribs up. And then I rotate, letting maybe that right elbow bend. I might extend it out just a little bit. And then bend. Let's take one more set, you guys. So reaching forward, far kind of and away from you, pushing, keeping that right hip kind of anchored down into your mat. And then lifting the rib cage up, rotating the spine. So lifting the chest up in order to get that rotation, opening the right shoulder, reaching that right arm up. And then bending. Just go ahead and find the neutral here. And start to move through. I'm going to push off with my left hands and just walk the whole body forward. And then pull my belly button back, kind of push down into your hands and rebuild the spine. Let's try our other side. So my right arm is going to come down to this side. I'm going to reach my left arm up and over. So I'm pushing down into the right arm to lift my left ribs up. From there, keep this arm straight and reaching, so don't let it collapse down. Still keep lifting. Then I'm going to start to rotate my chest towards my right thigh. So I'm reaching out and away from me on a diagonal here with my left arm. And then I push down into the ground or into the mat to lift the side of the left ribs here up. I'm going to start to bend that left elbow and open the chest. We can extend that arm if you so choose. Make good choices for you and your body today. Bend the elbow, return it back to neutral, and we begin again. So I'm picking the belly up away from the thigh, reaching that left arm forward in space. push down into the right arm to lift the ribs up. And then opening the chest, bending the elbow. Maybe we extend the arm out. And then return it back. Reach out. Pushing up into the side of the ribs, keeping the left hip down. Take one more of these. So reaching far away from you with that. The left arm there. And then we lift up. Finding the side of the body. Bend the elbow to open the chest. And extend it out. And then bend. Return that back through neutral. And then glide the arms forward and around. Push down into the mat to rebuild the spine. So I'm going to extend the legs out now. Start getting the legs involved. And especially, actually, let's just take the right leg. So I'm going to leave my left leg in the bend position. And I'm going to start actually by tweezing the seat. So I'm going to feel the sitting bones kind of tweeze together. And I'm going to lift my spine up and kind of straight as best as possible and start to kind of push forward and down to let the chest lower. So I'm keeping a straight spine, and at the very end here I might let that spine kind of curve forward and then rolling up through the belly, so I'm lifting up through the core to bring us up to the top. And again, so I'm going to lift up out of the belly. I'm going to start to push the spine forward. I'm kicking down into my right leg, walking my hands forward here. Just taking a bit of stretch in the back of the right leg. And then curving the spine forward. Pulling the belly back, pushing the arms down to return it up. Let's take our other side. So I'm going to extend my left leg out. Right knee's going to bend. I'm going to lift tall to start. I'm going to tweeze my seat and feel the left leg kind of kick down into the mat. And then I'm going to start to push that lower back forward and try to get length in the spine even as I lower it. Walking the hands forward. At the end there, you can start to round the spine up and over the leg. And then pull the belly button back towards the ribs to rebuild. And sit tall. Let's take one more. So I'm kicking down into the left back glute and hamstring there, pushing that lower. I'm trying to get a lot of length up out of the spine as I begin this. So find a spot where you can get that stretch. I'm pulling the mat a little bit with my hands. And then I'm going to walk the hands forward to round the spine forward. I'm still kicking down into my mat. And then pull the belly button back towards the ribs. Rebuild. Sit tall. We'll take one more version of this. So both legs are straight now. If you need to have a little soft bend in the knee, then you can move more in the spine maybe. If you keep straight legs, it's going to be maybe a more intense leg stretch. So both are good choices, but it's up to you. I'm going to take my hands on top of my legs here, on top of my shin bones, and I'm just pulling the belly button back. Just like how we started, kind of. And I'm going to push down into the back of the arms to kind of guide the chest forward and up. So I'm kind of pushing and now finding even more than just a straight spine, but actually a little bit of extension in the thoracic spine. Then I'm going to round the spine forward, kind of pull back away from your legs, but then push down into the sides of the body and the back of the arms to guide the chest forward and up. So it's not so much that the chest is going back, it's going out and then slightly up. Good. And then we're going to take a variation that I recently learned from one of my all-time favorite Pilates instructors, Meredith Rogers. So she's going to have us take our right hand to the center of the mat. And same thing is going to apply here. So I'm going to push the right hand down, and this time I'm going to reach my left arm out alongside my ear, and I'm going to push down into the right hand to start to lift the chest into that extension. From there, I'm going to keep pushing with the right hand to lift my left ribs up and around. So moving into rotation, and I'm going to reach my left arm out and away from me, but then return it back up and find center other side. So now I'm going to take my left hand, I'm going to push it down into the mat to guide the chest forward and up. From there I push down further to reach the right ribs up towards the ceiling there, and then open the chest to reach the right arm behind you. Take a moment, return it back to center. Let's take one more on each side. So I'm going to push the right hand down to lift the chest forward and up. Keep that sensation of lifting as you rotate towards your left. Open that left arm and reach it away from you, but then return it back towards center. Last one. Left hand pushes down to guide the chest forward and up. I lift the belly, lift the right ribs. Find that rotation. Open the chest, push down into the left arm to get you a little bit further into that rotation of the upper body in particular. And then you're turning the arm forward and up. I'm going to make both arms back, take a little bit of that lift, and then round the spine forward. Take a moment. And then pull the belly button back and roll the spine up. Good, let's move a little bit into the legs here. So I'm going to come onto my right foot is going to be forward. And already before we even begin, I'm going to kick down into my right heel to turn on the back of this right glute and hamstring and give me a little bit of stability. And then from there, I'm going to kind of pull my lower belly up and in so that I get this nice little like tuck of the tail. So I'm pushing the front of this left hip forward. And you should start to feel, hopefully, I'm kind of pulling the mat with my right glute and hamstring. You're starting to feel a little bit of stretch on the outside or the front of this left hip. For additional work, you can reach that left arm up and take the chest into that same extension we just kind of worked on, lifting the chest forward and up. And I'm going to circle this arm out. And now I'm going to lift that back foot and hold. From there, if you want added fun, you can reach that right arm up and around and maybe even grab the top of your left foot there. And then I'm kicking into my own hand to open up the front of this left side here. You can bend that right elbow, pull it towards you. And then lengthen it out. Return that arm up. Let's find our lunge here. I'm going to kick back into my left heel, take a stretch with my right leg. But then bend and return. As I do this, I'm really thinking about kicking backward into this. So I'm turning on the muscles that I'm stretching is the idea. So I'm not just hanging out here. I'm feeling kind of pressure into the back of the body. I'm also squaring my hips off, so I'm not letting the hips be open. I'm kind of pulling them in and back. And bend. Let's take one more. Pushing back. If you want additional stretch with this one, guys, you can lift the right toes up towards the ceiling. And then bend that right knee down into the lunge. We're going to rotate the right toes forward, the left toes up towards the ceiling, and then kind of drop that left hip down. So now we're looking for kind of stretch on the inside of this thigh. I'm going to take my forearms down to the mat, but everyone's going to be different into where this stretch can go. I'm still actively trying to push down into the mat with this leg, so I'm not just leaving it hang out. And we'll stay here for a couple of breaths. And I'm going to transition over by pushing into my right foot, kind of Spider-Man-like, over to the other side. So now I'm going to drop down into this right leg. Again, I'm activating it by slightly pushing down. And I'm even thinking about rotating or externally rotating that femur bone just a little bit.
And then I'm going to rotate into this lunge. And from there, I'm going to kick my right heel down so my left leg can straighten. And again, I'm pushing down into this left glute and hamstring. And then bend the knee, returning back. And again, pushing, feeling that right heel, so I'm stretching the right calf, pushing down into the left glute and hamstring, squaring my hips as best as possible. And then returning forward. And again. This time we can add in that flex of the foot if you so choose. And returning down. I'm going to bring my right knee down.
I'm going to stand into my left glute and hamstring, so I'm already turning on this side of the body. I'm picking my belly up like crazy so that I can start to push forward and open the front of this right hip. So hip flexors, but also we're going to start to ask our quads to stretch a little bit as well. You can reach that right arm up and lift the chest forward and up. So we're getting a little bit of that extension. I'm going to circle that arm around. And I'm going to bend that right knee to increase the stretch for me. Keeping my balance with the back of this left leg. I'm going to reach my left arm up and over into that rotation of the upper back. And I'm going to grab onto the top of my right foot there. You can bend that elbow. Just find the balance. Kick into your own hand tool. For additional stretch, pick the belly up. And then return it all the way down. Good. And that is all I have for you, I think, today. So, yep, thanks for watching, guys.